Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Rob Duguay, thanks for reconnecting. Yeah, you were the first person that came to mind. I was thinking about this year. You know, we are definitely not back to quote unquote normal, but it's been nice in 2022 to kind of see shows come back to, a more regular stride of things and some, festivals that are coming back. Because, yeah, we talked a while back and it was, we were kind of projecting into the future with, the crystal ball that we had. And, but yeah, so it's just really nice to think of you for that and kind of reflect back on this year, and just wanted to kind of have a conversation about some of your favorite releases. I have a short list of some of mine as well, and then some of our favorite shows that we kind of saw this year, just to shout out some Rhode Island bands and just have a conversation. To be honest, I'm just interested to hear what you've been listening to and what kind of stood out, because you cover so much. And yeah, so thanks again, Rob, for doing this. And, I kind of wanted to start with the releases. So, we don't have to do it in any kind of order, but was there what was the first particular release that came out in 2022 that kind of stuck out and you'd want to talk about?
Well, I think I'll give you I did a lot of research
cool.
on to reflect on this year for myself.
Yeah.
Actually go through what I covered and go through what I really liked that came out this year, and just so I have what could be accurate and what I'm talking and what I like that came out. Mm-hmm. I think the best, I think my three favorite, I would say my four favorite records that came out this year were Jesse the Tree's Pigeon Man, Pulling the Stool Against Devil's Knuckles, Bochek's Tightly Clung to Love, and On Ice by Minibeast.
Cool.
But there's also White Hot Electric Daddy by the Smoke Breaks. It's a great rock and roll record. It came out this year. Chachi Carvalho came out with a new great hip hop record called Legacy.
Yeah, with Vertygo.
The Nurse. The Nurse, which is a band. They're a rock and roll band. They're a rock band from the northern part of Rhode Island. They played Providence a few times. They put out a record called Memento Mori that came out this year. That's really, really good. And Falcon Brunch, which is kind of like a jazz fusion band from Providence. There are four dudes trying to rip EP. I liked a lot. It's all instrumental, but they have a saxophone and prog guitars and it's a really cool record. I like Jake Hunsaker a lot. I'm a big fan of his songwriting and around the album we did with the Rock Bond Band. I thought was awesome. Yeah, it was great to actually hear him on a record and see what he could do with that.
Yeah.
Olivia Dolphin, her album Lionheart Blood, she's great. Manny McGill just put out a great record called Surrender. That's awesome. Dave Alves, who's originally from the Dartmouth area, but he lives in Providence. His album Wintershins is a very interesting singer-songwriter record.
Yeah.
Very kind of complex arrangements, but it's a very interesting record beginning to end. Some band you might be familiar with called High Plains.
Oh, High Plains.
A good record called Ghost Town.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. I am familiar, yes, problem. And I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, you are familiar. Yeah. Their Fight Club, they put out their album Volume 2, all instrumental, kind of psychedelic blues rock stuff. It's really awesome. I mean, a fellow podcaster of yours, Bill Bartholomew, Beij, that record I liked a lot. There's a song on it called A Serious Light, which is one of my favorite songs that came out this year in Providence. Really? It's just one of the singer-songwriter songs. It's a perfect song in many different facets. So I really liked it a lot.
Save Richard for the holiday, inferior to make-up minds. Stop playing with the long game, I fear you could be left behind. I still lie in the shade, and I care enough to recognize. Caved in for romance, it appears that you cannot decide. You've got me on the run, star-faced and camouflaged. You've got me in the right, caught up in a serious fight. Started taking moments to clear my head and try to find some kind of wonder, even when I am teary-eyed.
So that's like a rundown of the records that I like that came out this year.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of them, but you shouldn't expect anything.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you hear so much, and yeah, same thing for me. It was kind of tough to even, pare this stuff down. But yeah, I mean, I guess Pigeon Man from Jesse the Tree was on my list as well. I'd like to kind of talk a little bit more about that, just to, we don't have to go like crazy deep, but just, like why that stood out. To me, similar to you, like I've been a fan of Jesse since the moment I heard him. I was lucky enough to put out his first album, Space Tomatoes, on cassette, like the first edition pressing of that. And, it's just really connected with him. But with Pigeon Man, this was his debut on Strange Famous Records, like the legendary hip hop label. And he took it to another level, in my view, and did some different stuff. Like he obviously with Strange Famous, they have a long history, and there's like a level of like, commercialness that they want to have versus, those that are familiar with Jesse, he drops a lot of stuff whenever, like I'll shout out Trilly Dan. I don't know if you heard that, but it was like a short, like 7-minute EP, but it was like just brilliant, sort of like avant-garde hip hop stuff, but Jesse worked for a long time, like a couple of years on Pigeon Man with Mopes, who produced it. And yeah, it just stood out, like it, probably the biggest compliment I could give that is that, my friend Andy, who I played in a band with, none of you know that are listening or anything like that, but it was like the first guy that got me into hip hop when I was like 14. He, unfortunately passed away like way too early. He ended up ODing. But listening to Pigeon Man, it like made me think of him, and it's just such a good record that I wish that Andy was around, that I could share this album with him. So like that's the caliber that Pigeon Man is. To me, and it just runs, some great like old school boom bap stuff to, what everyone's kind of known for with, what Mopes does. But, Roz Raskin is on there, just some great features. Dirty Dirty has a great song on there. So yeah, I absolutely love that record. I've listened to it a ton. Yeah, but I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like what kind of made you put that on the list?
I mean, you kind of said a lot. I could say. I mean, the collaborations on it are great. I mean, I've been a fan of Mopes since he was prolific.
Yeah.
And I used to go see him in like the late 2000s at the Living Room a lot, performing there, and like the early 2010s before he moved out of Rhode Island. And so I've always been a fan of his. And so him as a producer, working with Jesse as with the way Jesse can just deliver rhymes and raps, and his delivery, like it's such a like happy marriage to see them two together, because they work so well together. And they're stylistically, they're both their styles like complement each other very well. So that's what I liked about the record live, is like how you kind of have like this like the old like 2000s era Rhode Island hip hop meeting this like this new era of Rhode Island hip hop in this record, kind of in the sense where like you have like Mopes doing the production and Jesse rapping, and he kind of having that marriage between the two eras in that sense. Yeah.
No, I mean it's fantastic. I'm glad I got to talk to Jesse. I'm sure you have too, but yeah, it seems like it's doing really well. If you haven't heard it, please check that out, and as well check out his like full catalog of all the interesting stuff that he does with various producers. I mean, one thing that kind of comes to mind with that as well, like Alan from the band Passion Play had a feature on Pigeon Man, and I'd personally want to shout out Passion Play's release Sinking that came out over the summer. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but it's just phenomenal in my view. Like Passion Play is they they had like a small change. They brought in Brian, who runs Roach Ranch Recordings, and he came on to do vocals, and he's just a phenomenal performer. So it kind of took the band to not that they were not good with their first release, but with Sinking, there was just something else that kind of, catalyzed together with that. And I just really love Sinking. It's kind of like in that same level of like the hardcore that's coming out of that has come out of Rhode Island, such as like Verse and Weak Teeth, which I don't say lightly. I mean, those are some of my favorite bands ever, and Passion Play is kind of, emerging and reaching that level. So, that one, it was like a real standout to me. And as far as I know, I think that they're starting to do another like full length record that'll be coming out next year. So I'm like super excited about that. But yeah, that one was a great one for me. So I don't know if you have anything to share about that, or if you want to shout out one of your other records that you listed a little bit more deeply.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't jumped. Honestly, I haven't jumped into that one too much. I'm probably going to do that after our chat.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
it's good.
I would say like going along like that, those lines of like noisy rock and roll, noisy rock music, like Minibeast on Ice.
Oh right, yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I've been a big fan of Keith Seidel's a drummer, and Peter Prescott and Niles the Light, like that trio. Seeing them live is amazing, but what they could do on a record is really, really great as well. And I liked how like there's a little bit of like kind of spoken poetry that Peter does in the record. The production on it is fantastic. That's what really blew my mind about it. Is like for a noise rock band, everything is coming in clearly.
Yeah,
but we're not in we're still abrasive, but you can you want to listen to more of it rather than take it in doses. I think it's really impressive. And On Ice really does that for me. And that's why it's one of my favorite local records out this year. I mean, that Dave Alves record is very different. Just because, like, it's not your typical singer-songwriter record. That record is like, I mean, like he like puts like he has like field recordings in it.
Yeah.
I love records that do that stuff. Like they'll like transport you to a different place where you're listening to the record.
Yeah.
That one always will like that one stays with me a bit. It's because like again, if you like anyone's listening, listen to that album. And you'll know why I'm like kind of wowed by it, because it's very different. It gives you an experience. Like records are giving you experience.
Yeah, like I'm sure that it like really pushed him as a musician to create that. But honestly, even as like a listener, it pushed me as a listener. It, like it was kind of all consuming. Like it had all of that like background stuff, these segues. Even just like the length of it, like it was an experience to just be with it. It's not like here's 10 songs that I wrote, about such and such. Like it was like this full thought out kind of planned. I mean, I don't even know the length of it, but it's a pretty long record as well. So yeah, that one really kind of stood out. Yeah, just for its uniqueness and just the amount of time and effort and quality that is there as well. Yeah. So shout out to Dave. Thanks for making that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's probably what I would say, like, out of the list. I mean, again, the Bill Bartholomew Beij record is kind of runs around the same lines of how it's a very interesting record where it has a lot of variety within it. Where like it has its own cohesiveness, but like musically, like like some songs stray. I mean, Bill does this, which I love him as an artist. He's not afraid to stray away from like a blue to like do something different. And Beij is like an example of that for like a singer-songwriter indie rock record. mean, Bear Fight Club, that Volume 2, I mean, their Volume 1's great. Volume 2 is awesome. Like, if you like songs that are named after sandwiches, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, and there's a really cool, like, psychedelic blues sound, like, rest in peace, Ned Cronin. He passed away a few weeks ago. He's not part of, and, you know, so the band's like running as a trio now, which is sad. But he has some great licks on that record as a guitar player. Rest in peace. You know, but yeah, like that record's really great. Again, yeah, I mean, I think it's been a really interesting year with different records because like we've always had a diverse amount of stuff coming out locally around here every year. But I would say this like the way the song, some of the stuff, the way these albums are structured is very interesting and very like intriguing. Because of how like they're trying to be, they're making an effort to be different, but they're not trying too hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah. One thing I'll kind of, you know, reminded of and want to shout out, you know, you mentioned Bill Bartholomew, who's, you know, also known as the, you know, singer and guitarist of Silver Teeth, kind of similar to that, Local Age, which is Michael Sweet from Forest Fires. He has a solo project called Local Age. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they put out some tracks in an EP, and I just absolutely love it. I mean, it's I guess it's kind of the opposite of Dave because it's like these like short, great kind of like dancey, poppy songs. Like if you're familiar with Forest Fires, it sounds like a solo project of the guy from Forest Fires, I guess, if it makes sense. You know, like it kind of removes some of the band elements of it, but it's still like full. The song like Are You Okay is actually probably one of my favorite songs that came out this year. Yeah, just like the short EP that he recorded on a 4-track, like literally like a cassette 4-track. And again, you probably know me well enough, Rob, or anyone that's listening, that I like my analog stuff, you know? So he like literally, you know, went old school with like a cassette Tascam recorder. And it was just like really honest, authentic stuff, you know? And, you know, I believe that, you know, I know he had a kid recently, and I think that he's kind of like, you know, pumped the brakes a little bit, but I just really hope that he continues on with that project because it's just really exciting to me. And that stuff really stood out, even though it was like such a small dose. Like I've listened to that stuff like all year, like all summer long. Like Are You Okay was my jam. Yeah, just, you know, again, came to mind as just, you know, someone that is continuing their music path from like a well-known Rhode Island band into their solo stuff. But yeah, shout out to Local Age and Michael for making some great music this year.
Nice. I haven't heard that one either. I'm probably getting another one for me to check out after our talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we had to talk about the Bocek record.
Yeah, that one seemed to be amazing. You know, like what they're doing now is they're taking off, and that came on Roz's label, Self Love Records. So
yeah, Self Love. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that record, like, I interviewed about it for the Providence Journal ahead of their release show that happened in November at Machines of Madness. And I like how like they want to have it be an emotional 180 to their first record, Here Now Death Later, where Here Now Death Later is kind of like an angsty record, where this one is more of like a uplifting record. I mean, they bring a lot to the table. And so like this, so I'm always excited to see what they do next. And this record definitely shows a steady progression of what they're aiming for. They're just one of those bands where I'm always going to see what the next. They have a very malleable sound.
Yeah, that is probably honestly the best way to put it. Like they just move in many different ways, and I guess from my view, there's a lot of bands that say that they kind of defy certain styles and genres and stuff like that. But and that can be true to some in some regard, but I think Bochek is like legit doing that. Like they just are just kind of moving into new spaces, and it's wonderful to see the response that people have to them, like the fans that they have. It's just a great time. The shows that I've seen them, like people are digging it, and it's great to see people having fun, at shows and stuff like that, so I love it. But probably a name that you have heard of, and I just want to shout it out, is the Ted Leo EP series that he put out on Bandcamp this year. Was really cool. Again, similar to Michael's like local age stuff. These were just some like unreleased tracks, some remix songs, some covers that Ted had done. As far as I know, it was all just done like by himself, sort of like at home. I think he's in Wakefield. But I've just been a huge fan of Ted Leo forever.
Me too. He's one of the nicest dudes.
Yeah. I know he's not listening to this, but Ted, if you need a local drummer, I'm your guy, man. So if someone ever gets the word to Ted that he's needs a local drummer, I'll definitely sit in, man. But yeah, like Andy Come Out, the old 200, and for Coit and Killie they're just great, and I love the concept behind it. I'm glad that he was able to do it. But I also kind of just want to shout out just how important Bandcamp has been, in my view, to artists. That I think I don't want to speak for Ted, but I think that he saw that I couldn't be more. That these were all released during Bandcamp Fridays, and Ted is a working musician. Hasn't been able to tour. Like literally was like affected by COVID, where he played at Union Station and that had to be delayed, I think twice because of his own, COVID case, so just the fact that he was able to release this music and hopefully get a little bit of income and stay, out in the public sphere. So that's one piece of it, but it's also just like great stuff. I really enjoy it. And it sounds like he's just having fun, just getting to do like a Bee Gees cover. I think he does like a Traffic cover, just some of these other things that, might not be able to necessarily make it to, the larger label releases with, if he's on Touch and Go or Lookout or whatever else like that, they might not be as open to, dealing with all that stuff, but it just is a great vehicle for that. So yeah, those really stood out to me as well. So.
Awesome. Yeah. I saw a little. I got to check a little bit of that out on Bandcamp. I totally agree with 100% on that. It's really cool to see what he can. It's awesome. But Bandcamp's great when you can see, especially with a guy like Ted, who's a reputable singer or a songwriter, see what he can do outside of a label where he can have his own freedom to just post stuff online, and there you go.
Yeah. And I've just got one more on my list. If you've got any more you wanted to dig deeper in, but I can share this and then we can kind of move into some of the memorable shows that we hit this year. But this one just really like hit me. Like it was a name that I'd heard before. And I've actually worked with him. It's Tyler from Audio Geography. He it does lathe cut, and he did the cassettes for ToadStool that Mike and I did for his Earth project. So we put out a tape a couple of years ago, and Audio Geography, did those. They're like these cool swirl tapes. So he does all that. So I kind of knew that, but his band Tragwag put out a new album via Tor Johnson Records, and it's called How Nothing Works. And it is an incredible, like poppy 90s rock, like emo record. Like it is like everything that I want. I have, again, I've, been kind of obsessed with some of these other songs that are out there, like Local Age and stuff like that. But like, I've just listened to that Tragwag record like constantly since it came out. And it's only been like, I think it came out in November. So it's only been like a couple weeks, but like highly recommend that. And since Tyler does lathe cut vinyl and owns his company, he released it on, he took laser discs, like old, like laser discs that you'd play, like, movies. And he was able to cut the record into that. So he did like this limited edition laser disc lathe cut with screen print covers. Just like phenomenal presentation. But yeah, like highly like recommend checking that out, as well as his back catalog. I guess want to just shout him out just because he is like a little bit new. Like he is originally from Connecticut, I believe, and was down in Tallahassee where he actually wrote this record. But he's been here in Rhode Island for about a year now, up in Lincoln, and just put out this record. I just honestly can't recommend it enough if you're into any of that like indie rock, emo. Like he just did a cover set of the Google Dolls for the cover show that John Pagano puts on at Askew and Alchemy. And we were just talking, and he's like, yeah, man, there's a lot of like Google Dolls in that, How Nothing Works record. And I'm not as familiar with the Google Dolls early stuff, but it's just that kind of like just great catchy hooks. And just his show is awesome. So I know he's going to be doing some shows coming up soon. I think he's playing at News Cafe maybe in January. So yeah, definitely want to check that one out. Shout out to Tragwag. It's a awesome record. I'm glad that that one is made, So yeah, and if you haven't heard that one, Rob, I mean, yeah, put that one on your list. It's really fun.
I'll check it out. Definitely. And Google Dolls, the early stuff, check out Superstar Car Wash. That record is like the essential early 90s punk rock Google Dolls record. It's really good.
Yeah. No, I know some of that stuff. Yeah, from talking to Gail Greenwood, who was in Boneyard and like toured with them back in the day. That they were super close. But yeah, they are one of those bands that had like that very transformative careers where I'm super happy that they're famous and able to make a ton of money. And I don't play guitar, but I also just know that a lot of those Google Doll songs are like deceivingly hard to play, even though they're just like these like pop songs that you'll hear in the supermarket. They're like not easy pop songs. But yeah, like there's a lot of people have just talked about that early Google Dolls. So I need to, probably make a point of checking that out, especially now that I'm as big a fan of Tragwag as I am. I need to probably go check out some of the, ancestry of that stuff, so. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to move into some of the shows that you checked out this year, and you know, what's was memorable to you, and why they were memorable. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think I think I think the main thing to talk about for me is I got to go to a lot of festivals this year. Like 2023 was like the first year, like full year return back from the COVID pandemic. You know, for live music. Like you know, 2021. Like still the early part of it, there was really nothing going on until the vaccine became available in the spring. So like we had like a full year for a festival season around here, and like going to Newport Folk and going to Newport Jazz was great. I think going to having Rhythm and Roots back, where after before the uncertainty of it not coming back, had to be able to come back in full force, and it had like the biggest crowd it had in years. Like,
that's cool.
They had like over 5,000 people at one point. It was crazy. You know, going to those were awesome. I would say for shows, I made a list. Like Coit and Cambria, like they'll play like the Gas Arena in Boston, and they played at Fat Music Hall in the bar in March of this year, and it was very rare. They don't play at rooms like that anymore. Yeah, and to see them perform there was amazing. It was incredible. It was so great. See Black Midi, a great band from England at the Columbus Theater a few weeks later in March. It was kind of awesome. It was really awesome. Me and my friend Jason went there, and for some reason I had VIP seating. I didn't know about it until Tom Wayman at the Columbus told me. So we had to sit VIP watching a show. Black Midi came out to the Family Guy theme song, which is awesome. It was great. Seeing the Schizophonics, they're a great band from the Bay Area of California. They're like 60s rock and roll. If you like the MC5 and James Brown, Revival Fest this year at dusk was great. I went to that. Seeing Interpol and Spoon at Bull Point Park in August was awesome. That was a great show. Me and my friend Rory went to that. That was fantastic. Shiza Fest was a very special time. Yeah. I mean, our friend Nick Giddens, Nick Giddens was a really good friend of mine for over 10 years, and he passed away back in March. And the show for him that was done to memorialize him on September. That in September was fantastic. I went to one of the days of it, and seeing so many people and people I hadn't seen in a year, seen in a long time. Was like catching up, like having everybody's like great music all day, and it was such a special time. Vai at the Strand, they're like, I mean, he's an incredible guitar player. I interviewed him for the Projo ahead of the show, and he was awesome. He played this thing called the Hydra. You can look it up online. It's a guitar, and it's like a triple neck guitar. It has like all these different types of strings on it. One neck has like harp strings on it. And like, there's always different harmonics on it. It's crazy. Yeah. He actually claims it was inspired by the guitar player in his Mad Max film.
Okay.
That it had a cyberpunk vibe to it. And seeing that show is amazing. Yeah. Getting to see the Smile, their Radiohead side project with Tom York and Johnny Greenwood and Tom Skinner, the drummer from Sons of Kemet. That was an amazing show. In November, that was a fantastic show. I had a great time with that. That was such a really fun time. But I would say, those are some of probably the major shows I saw that really wowed me. Yeah.
No, I was at the Smile as well and got to catch some of that other stuff. But I mean, I definitely love to kind of piggyback on the Shiza Fest. That one definitely stood out to me. I was really lucky to get to play it the second day with High Plains, and it was a really special thing. Like honestly, for my personal experience, that there like just the spirit of Nick was there. Like I felt I don't even know, it's not even pressure, but I just felt like I needed to kind of perform at a certain level, especially being a drummer playing there. So I think it kind of just raised my game, obviously playing, that same night, like Joe, and Al and all these other like amazing drummers from Rhode Island were just, playing some great sets. It was just like a great string of bands, and, getting to see Konerko play again was really cool. But, actually just kind of around the corner from there was Focal Fest. A little bit before that, that was that Revival Brewery that's Focal, the venue in Pawtucket put on. Jesse played that. He was kind of on like the next level there. I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe it was just like a bigger stage or something like that. But he like, I've seen him a lot. But he was kind of had a special night there, and he did like this cool cipher with a bunch of Rhode Island artists, like kind of impromptu, I believe. He just called up a bunch of friends and had them do this. So that was really special to be there. And honestly, getting to see TetCon, I've listened to his music in the past. He's, known as like a producer, but he did like a solo set, solo like electronic set. And that was just really cool. I mean, he was like way into it, which just totally brought me in. So TetCon was fantastic that night. And I don't know if you're familiar with the band Lost. They did a house show at Hill House in Providence. That one really stood out to me too, just because like I've got to see them in the past at AS220, and they're like really good there as well. But this was like, just a great DIY basement show. And it really like kind of like broke through, and like it was I don't know, just like like everything just came together in that moment. It was just like a summer night, like people were just like hanging out outside. That coincidentally, that was actually the time I got to meet Mopes in person. I did an interview with him earlier, but I never met him, and he just was at the show. So like getting to hang out in the kitchen of this house, talking to Mopes and Jesse the Tree about basketball. I don't know if people know this, but Jesse is basically like a scout level knowledge of basketball, so they just nerded out about that. But that was just musically, that really stood out. That was ToadStool's first solo performance in 8 years. So just getting to be there for him as well was pretty fun and special.
I play a track like I'm holding mad tight, like it's some bad types, but I got a trash mic, and that's pretty much the base of my story. And since the days of an orderly kid, I pray when the hash lights sitting dead stone with my headphones in the neck zone, straight sniffling like a head cold, wreck foes with a left blow. Let's go, stuck to the rapping like molasses or some Velcro. Hands up if you fucking with real shit, and it's not about the money, you're just punching a meal ticket. I'm real finicky, don't eat the peel rip. Who made you think I wanna track a verse with you weak spitters? Yeah, I'm a weak spitter, 7 days straight. My shit will levitate faith with a lemonade taste. Second grade brain couldn't ever claim safe. I'm in the pressure plate phase, you couldn't measure less weight, boy.
And just a couple more from my point of view. Eastern Medicine Singers did a show right along the Blackstone River, and kind of, similar to what I was saying with some of that other stuff. Like I've kind of seen them around, seen them perform at Burnside Park, and they're really engaging. But it was like, honestly, like emotional to have them perform along the Blackstone River, maybe with just some of that history that was there, or just I don't even know what it was, to be honest. But like Daryl and his whole group, it was just really like a wonderful, experience. It was at the ZAP 50 celebration. So it was kind of just talking about, the celebration of the river and what that kind of meant. So that one just really kind of cut through. Like I just wasn't expecting it to be like as emotional of a performance for me, but it was, and I just really always love that. I always love when those things happen. And, finally for me, obviously, again, I've been to a ton of shows. There's been great stuff I've seen, but I was able to go to Ben Shaw's release show for Madeline, and he took that stuff to a different place. Like he really made it into this like immersive experience where it wasn't just a show where he like played the album, but he had, it was also a novella. So he had some like clips from that he had recorded, and he had dancers that kind of came up. So it was just, he put a lot of thought and a lot of work into it, and it really came through. And I'm really happy that he did that. And I'm happy that I was able to be there. So yeah, I'm just really encouraged by what I got to see in 2022. Just so much great stuff. I'm really looking forward to 2023 as well. Is there anything that you have coming up you know, in 2023 that you want to shout out? Anything that's coming with Top 5 Fiend or?
Yeah, I mean, the first Thursday of each month is the Variety Showcase series in the Parlor, and I book a show there every first Thursday of each month. So yeah, I got the first few months of that squared away. What else am I doing? I'm working on I think my ninth. Oh my God, it's getting me out of time. But yeah, it's getting I think my ninth edition, my birthday benefit shows for the J. Arthur Trudeau Memorial Center. We're doing it's gonna be April 21st is gonna be April 20th is gonna be at the News Cafe in Pawtucket. April 21st is gonna be at the Parlor. April 22nd is gonna be at dusk. I'm working on getting the lines for that squared away and everything. Looking forward to that. Other than that, I mean, I'm trying to recalibrate be healthier. Not like I don't have any health problems or anything, but I'm trying to lose some weight, be a little healthier. So I'm gonna take the first 2 months off of the year, do some hibernating, go to the gym a lot more.
Cool.
And, like outside the shows I have to do at the Parlor. So when the year things start to warm up, when I'm getting out, maybe I have some old clothes I haven't fit in there to fit in by that time.
Yeah, so good, man.
Lose some weight, go back to the gym more often. Yeah, I mean, it's trying to be healthier. I think it's like I'm already been working on it now, but I definitely want to take it to a different level coming this year. Just be adopt healthier habits.
Yeah,
nothing crazy, but it's adopt healthy.
That's good, man.
I mean, that's all I got for shows.
No, that's good, man.
I mean, Iggy Pop is coming out on January 6th. Yeah, maybe he's already had a string of West Coast dates. Maybe he comes to the East Coast.
Oh, that'd be rad. Yeah.
Province. Come on, Strand. Come on, P-Pack. Do
book them. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, just to see, outside of Rhythm Roots again, Newport Jazz More Folk and PVD Fest. I'm really excited to see PVD Fest coming this year, full force. So, with a full year of organization behind it, with no roadblocks from COVID, I want to see how that does. Yeah, one thing that really stood out to me this year is that there's a new young crop of bands that are really making their way through the scene. That I think I'm really happy about. There's the Sleds, Dread Buffalo, Camelopard, Shirley Drive. These are all bands they're not all from Rhode Island, but they're from around southern New England. So they come play, but they'll play New Bedford, they'll play Plymouth, they'll play Worcester, they'll play New London. Jay Tourniquet, another great band, Balloon Thief, another great band. So it's one thing going forward. I think it makes me really happy is that we have a new young crop coming up. I know we talked to some of the old guys. They'll mention the ebb and flow of the Providence music scene, and how it's forward in the past. And that's one thing as a promoter. I'm not really always worried about it. I view it as in the sense where I know my duty is to help keep things striving and help keep shows happening. So I'm always trying to find bands to work with. So knowing that we actually have some bands coming through and want to be doing stuff, I think it's great. So that's what I'll say going forward. I think it's a nice thing to see going forward is that we have this we guys still growing. And let it grow and be inclusive and play rock and roll music and hip hop and everything.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's necessary to just always have people coming up and pushing those that are there and, hopefully learning from what, came before them. But, evolving and making new stuff. And I don't know, I do feel that the scene, all of the different scenes are in pretty good places, the Rhode Island hip hop scene is doing some really interesting stuff and is getting some recognition, whether it's Flawless, who is just, absolutely killing it. John Hope is just, it was his record came out a while ago, I forgot 2021, maybe even earlier than that, but I know he's working on some new stuff. Just phenomenal performer. What's
Ty
that?
Cooper.
Oh yeah, Ty.
Cooper.
Yeah. it's just cool to see what's happening with that. But, just everything, the bluegrass scene, like what Rock Hearts are doing. I mean, they're starting to get a lot of recognition nationally. And then like the bluegrass scenes getting invited to all these festivals and obviously like the electronic noise stuff with what Alec Redfern is doing with Doom and, Mark Satilia and all these other people that are still like pushing things. It's really cool to see how all of these little pockets are there, and there's just some people that are making a name for our tiny little state. So yeah, I'm really excited about 2023. I've got a couple of music releases that I'll probably announce soon. I'll tease it here though, but there's some fun ones with some people, artists that I absolutely love. So those will be coming out in early 2023. So watch the internet for those things. But I've been really like loving doing these like short run physical releases, to kind of help people with that. And so I'm super excited for what will be announced soon. And then, sort of like you, man, I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back just to kind of get focused more on health. I was doing this podcast stuff like, full bore of just, trying to get a release out every week. And, I just had to kind of like take a little bit of a step back just to, stay healthy and safe and sane and, be a good dad and all these other things, be a good husband and stuff. And, but yeah, in 2023, I'm looking to, get back to a little bit more of that routine and getting, to talk to more Rhode Island artists about their history. And, I'm always looking for some recommendations, especially if it just has some diversity. I just want to cover a bunch of different styles of music and eras and, people, just so it's not, just a certain style or, just white guys, like I want to cover all of this different stuff, so just to get all those different perspectives. So I'm always open to requests and, or hit me up if you want to talk, so if you're listening. But yeah, Rob, I really do appreciate you taking some time to talk about this. It was pretty cool, to reflect back on this, and you definitely shouted out some stuff that's I knew kind of like on a peripheral. Heard some names, but definitely some stuff I need to check out deeper. Because yeah, man, I mean, you're out there, you're in the clubs, you're listening to all this stuff. It's just been to you personally, it's just been super awesome to see how much your career has been growing. And, congratulations on the Boston Music Awards nomination and all of those other things, man. It's just really cool to see your career grow and just, representing us well and here in Rhode Island and just being a great, asset to so many people. Like, I mean, like, honestly, like for me as a musician and just watching what you do, like you're a very, important person and a very, needed person. So I'm sincerely thanking you for all that you do, man. So, yeah, I appreciate you doing this. I look forward to seeing you at some shows soon. Catching up next time we chat, so.
All right, James. Well, yeah, my pleasure being on. Thanks for having me on. It's been great talking about, reviewing this year in music and talking about records and shows and all sorts of good stuff. Thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. I'd have to say didn't seem like it was too hard to twist your arm. It was like, hey, do you want to nerd out for music for a little bit? You're like, sure, man.
Yeah, why not? Right? Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. Cool.
All right, thanks a lot.
I'll talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
Yeah. I wish I had another me to invest in. Having seeds was a blessing that led to greed for possessions. I grew up like ivy on brick buildings. I'm lively, so I'ma live like an ivy and sick children. Feeling the real when I spit feelings is healing. I'm no hero but aiming to kill villains. My village is all protagonists. We Marvel and DC combined. We own the masters, now the thesis refined. While the fans empty the bleachers screaming referees blind, I keep coaching players tap in like Gregory Hines. Phonetics get spilled like pilled medicine. Playlist is filled with MCs I'm way better than. But I ain't counting the accolades, that's a masquerade. I'm mama's boy, I've been trotting along the path she paved. I'm a coated gold for my littles to have better days until that old grape becomes fine wine or a better raisin. And I ain't saying I'm Einstein, but you better raise them, right? To learn the difference from wrong. Lion's perpetuation that the crying ain't strong. A lion when in the midst of the injured gazelle ain't eating. That ain't stupid, it's more power, it ain't weakness. I'm on another level of thought. I revel in competition, even whether it's sport. It's hunting season every month, that's what the shovel is for. I'm God body, if you hating, you a devilish war. Yeah, my tools are sharpened like number twos at poorly resourced schools where you hardly get taught rules. You learn to make boss moves, even if they say lost grooves was the cause of your short fuse. Yeah, just pop a Ritalin. You can learn the ropes and sell drugs to little children. Where losers are winners and winners wear uniforms. And people without struggle or debt are called unicorns. Ask anyone where I'm from, I'm dead nice. Hit 'em with bars for a very long time like Craig Price, killing them. Steady rising like balloons filled with helium. Colliding with a cosmic rarity, I'm type beryllium. Everyone in your circle is not a legend, B. We nobodies from nowhere, we hood celebrity. The shit that made you think you a legend is just a memory. I only hope my kids remember me and build a legacy. And when they bring up my story, no propaganda. I'm just a teacher, but I'm still building like Joe Belanger. G.I. Red laces for all them snakes and Cobra Commanders. C.I. Been growing my own flowers for years, and I'm learning to face my fears after bourbon and shedding tears. I swallowed my pride with several beers, and now I celebrate life, my brother, cheers. Yeah. We made something from nothing and made nothing for it. We made a couple classic albums but never went touring. We've been recording for years and forever performing. Yeah. We made something for nothing and made nothing for it. Made a couple classic albums but never went touring. Been recording for years and forever performing. Made nothing for it.
I was a fool,
Did that for years.
believing all the lies, but I grew.
Never again, man. Never again.
Living off hope, but giving y'all dope. This shit that I wrote that y'all forget that I wrote. Another one like Khaled to calm rhythms like ballads for y'all to give 'em. My talents is God's given. My hands got callous for Shawn building. I either focus the balance or fall victim. Gave the culture my whole heart when y'all didn't. With God's wisdom, my third eye never lost vision. I guess it's a stand and I walk different. Your man's was artistic while fans turn autistic. So I traveled the lands and talked with them. With no reciprocation, that led to y'all don't get it, but on the flip side, maybe it's Shawn. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my songs is only crazy to Shawn. So I guess my only way to put on, go home to Cali, brought my lady along.
Come on, baby.
I was skating till they gave me that call. Your mama is ill. Your mama for real? How would I feel if I lose you? But not present, cause I'm chatting with who's who. I tracking views on YouTube. I choose you, sacrificing what I built up. I move through and satisfied with no real love. I strategize like a real one, surviving this war. My battle cries for the children. Even when I'm off the meter and I'm tired, sever, dust myself off like Aaliyah and try better. 2 lessons that I learned on this earth is to get it, gotta motivate. The other lesson, you don't get what you worth, you only get what you negotiate.